So the topic of today is an important topic, but it's a philosophical topic. It's a topic of detachment. Those who study Vedanta, TTC, you know, it's part of the practice of Vedanta to learn to detach so that your mind, your heart is not so involved in everything that is temporary, so you can remain being yourself. So today I'm going to use the PowerPoint. I'm going to share the PowerPoint. How do I do? Okay. So the word detachment, sự tách rời, is called Vairagya in Sanskrit. So it's an important skill to be able to learn so that you never lose yourself. The drama is when you get involved in life and you lose yourself. It's like you drive the car on the road and then you forget, and then you are unable to direct the car. You don't know anymore where you go, and you lose your mastership of the car. So Vairagya or detachment is a faculty that you need to learn. You need to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Some people are better than others. Some people are very passionate, so they cannot detach. Detachment or dispassion is the same thing. You need to step back. You need to be able to see a bigger picture, step back, and not to be too involved. Because your mind and your emotions get involved, and then you lose yourself. Okay? So you need to learn how to do this, to step back, to detach. Okay? But in order for you to step back, you are afraid. Why you are attached? Detachment as opposed to attachment. Why we are so attached? Because we are afraid. We are afraid that if we detach or let go of that holding, then we fall into the nothingness. Then we would lose ourselves. So that's a problem. So that's why, in order for you to learn to detach, you have to be very anchored, and you have to remember your true nature, which is Satchidananda Atman. The moment that you remember yourself, You remember that if you are attached, you lose yourself. If you are detached, you remember yourself. So especially those who are passionate nature, lots of emotion, then it's easier for you to feel alive when you are attached. And it's more difficult for you to be detached because you feel that you are not alive. It's not true that you are not alive, but you have to learn to feel a different kind of feeling, which is a feeling of peace, of inner joy. It's not a feeling of emotional excitement or emotional fulfillment, but it's higher, it's more refined. The quality of detachment. Okay, so detachment does not mean that you are not loving, but just mean that you are loving in a more profound manner. So now you need to remember the self. The self as Satchidananda. Okay, Sat means always existent. So you in reality is always existent, not coming, not going, not changing, not being born, not dying. That means beyond this life, in this body, you have an existence, something that is all the time there, your spirit, your soul, all the time there. Okay, so you need to remember that truth that is untouched, that is always there behind the whole drama. So when you remember that, you're not afraid. People are afraid of dying, afraid things to change. So that's normal, but now you have to practice to withdraw so that you can remember the self that is not changing. So the same, like we said, gold is the essential nature of the different ornament, the ring, the bracelet, the crown, the necklace is made of gold. It has different shape and form and name and usage. But gold is the most important thing. So you need to be detached from the name and the form and the usage to see the essential nature of that thing is gold. So you need to be detached from your name and form or your occupation or your relationship so that you remember your essential nature, your true self is spirit. Okay? So when you are able to detach, you remember your spirit. So you need to develop a spiritual approach to life. You live your life from a larger perspective. We need to know the purpose of our life and who we are. So you know the purpose of your life is to realize more and more your immortal spirit. Who we are is the Atman, is the self. So then you can really detach because you know that you detach, but you find everything. You're not losing anything. You find everything, okay? And then you have to go through, in the beginning, the fear of detachment. You don't want to detach, even though when you attach, you have a lot of trouble, you have a lot of problems, but you are not able to detach because you prefer to be attached. You prefer to continue that same habit of attachment. So when you are not detached, Then you identify also with actions, means what you do. Okay? You are attached to action, you are attached to what you do. You get involved in everything. And everything is a big drama. You are immersed in the battle of life. Life becomes very real and you are battling, struggling. And then you lost your own true self in the battle of life. And some people are so involved and so, you know, they're so fearful, are so angry, and they're so desperate. And sometimes they kill themselves. Yeah, they kill their instrument of realization, which is the body. But it doesn't solve the problem. So according to Vedanta philosophy, life you have to live. You have to live life, but with detachment. So that's the teaching of Karma Yoga. But if you are immersed in life, then sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Something good happens, you're happy, sometimes you are in difficult situation. It's a big drama. So you are all the time losing yourself and up and down, up and down. We say it in the ocean of samsara. Ocean of samsara means that huge ocean with so many waves, and you are drowned in it, up and down. Sometimes you can breathe, and sometimes you are down. Sometimes you can breathe, sometimes you are down. Like right now, the whole world is in the pandemic, and Vietnam, very big time. Yeah, it's so everyone is very anxious. So you have to learn this faculty called detachment. So detachment from what is changing. Yeah, like this lady, look in the mirror, see how she has a white hair. So everything is changing. Your body is changing. Your appearance is changing. Yeah, so what is changing is not called truth. Okay, so that is in Vietnamese there is a word vô thường, means impermanent. Yeah, so in the Buddhist teaching, that's a very important teaching of what is permanent and what is impermanent. Okay? So you learn to develop that faculty to know that something is impermanent. That means the nature of it is not to exist forever. Then you need to detach from it. The nature of the body, when you are born, you have a certain number of years to live and a certain number of breath, and then it's finished. It's not forever. Okay? So the self is truth, existing forever. Consciousness exists forever. The truth exists forever. Everything else is changing. Everything else is asat. Asat means not truth. The name, you can work and build up name. If you look at this, some people, they are very famous. They are very famous. And they die. Nobody remember them. Yeah. Circumstances also of life are changing. Sometimes we live with people, sometimes we are alone. Things are changing. Sometimes you go to work, now you're not going to work, you are at home. Things are never the same. So better that you live in the present as much as you can, And you don't all the time worry about the past or the future. Location change. Emotions change. Yes. Emotions always changing. So we also detach from that which is external. So you have to learn that which is internal and external. Internal is your consciousness, your feeling, your awareness, your idea that I know, I am. That is internal. Anything else is external. So you detach from the external because the external is made of your senses. And your senses are not really representing the truth. But the internal, your feeling inside, this is what you need to be more aware, more developed. As far as you have your feeling inside, your awareness, your consciousness, your sense that I know, you need to feel secure in that. But our eyes are all the time looking for something external. And we grasp the external. We attach to the external. So when you learn to meditate, you find that consciousness, you see, when you learn to meditate, you close your eyes, you close your senses, you don't remember anything. You are in that space. So when you open your eyes, you live in this world, then you are a little bit more detached. That's why meditation is a very good tool to train you in detachment. The more that you be able to meditate, the more you become more strong because you are more secure in yourself instead of losing yourself on the external. Okay, so everyone, you need to meditate every day. Yeah, the more that you be able to do, the better it is. If you want to be strong, you need to be withdrawing in the meditation. Then you start to realize, oh, there is something that is there, that is strong, that is unchanged. And you also can help yourself with renunciation. I mean, instead of wanting, desiring, grasping, and you say, no, I don't need. I'm fine. You live a simple life. Thank you. Purification means you do asana, you do pranayama. They purify your energy, purify your nadis, your energy. They purify your mind, that you don't have a certain thoughts. Yeah, so automatically it's easier for you to go inward because you are not blocked. When your mind is blocked by impurities, by wrong habit of thinking, then you cannot go inside. So then when the mind is blocked, it always projects something externally that is distorted. When your mind is pure, then you can go more inside, deeper, you'll become more contented, more peaceful, and you don't project, constantly projecting different ideas about life that are distorted. So that knowledge that comes from detachment is a spiritual knowledge, not an intellectual knowledge. The answer lies within. If you feel like worry, concern, you don't know what will happen, then you look inside. The answer lies within. Sometimes you ask yourself the question, when this pandemic is going to finish? When I don't have to wear a mask anymore? When I can travel like before? When I can meet with families and friends? So that means you have a certain restlessness. You are not, you are attached to this present situation and you don't feel comfortable with it. Then you ask yourself all the different questions. But then you need to remember that the answer lies within. You see what that means? At that time, you detach from the external, you go in the meditation, you go inward, and you feel fine. When you go inward, you feel fine. Then you don't need to meet with anybody, you don't need to travel anywhere, you don't need to eat anything fancy, you don't need to go to coffee shop, you don't need to do any kind of activity. Yeah. Even your livelihood, you become detached also, because you know that there will be, it will be provided somehow, because you are more creative, and then you are not panicking. So the answer lies within. It's not that you are running away from your responsibility and you don't care, but this is a philosophical answer to the difficulties of life. You need to find fulfillment and say that you already have what you are looking for. You look for always something outside, but it never really fulfills you. Okay, so you look for peace. If you can be detached, you look for peace, then peace will be there, and you feel content, you feel okay. So stop looking at the wrong place. Okay, sometimes you meditate, you do yoga, and you feel like it's pointless. That means it doesn't do anything, that there is no result. But it is wrong thinking. When you do yoga and meditation, the main thing is you become more detached. You might not be aware of it, but life is different because you are not so running after the external. And when your mind is active, then it's time to say, oh, you know, yoga, meditation doesn't give me what I want. But it's a mistake of thinking, because when you practice yoga and meditation, you are more content. You're fulfilled. You don't need anything. And that is a great feeling. Okay? Happiness is within. So the lady always look for her needle that she dropped in the house. She look for it outside because there is light outside. So we always look for our happiness in the world of the senses, but it is an illusion. It doesn't last long, and it can change. So you need to develop this sense of contentment or peace. Like I said, they are from within. In the ashram in Vietnam, there is a beautiful place that you can sit and look at the sunrise. And you feel very happy. from inside. Because it's not so much as the sun that you look, but the phenomena of the sun rising, which is, you know, you're witnessing the miracle of life, the miracle of God, and that's how you become happy. There's another story. A person is walking and then found in the desert and find a tree. And they look away and there's always water. In the desert, we call it a mirage. It's an illusion. So that person decide to leave the shade to go look for the water, saying to himself that I will come back to my shade if I don't find water. So the same in life. We all the time have that illusion in our mind. There's different desire in our mind. If I'm going to get this promotion, then I will be happy. If I'm going to buy this car, then I will be happy. If I'm going to get married, I'll be happy. If I'm going to get divorced, I'll be happy. If I'm going to travel, I'll be happy. So always the if for you to be happy. But it's an illusion because you'll never be happy because there is an if there. So you need to stand at one place and look within. The person needs to stand under the tree and dig underneath. Then water is there. You need to be fulfilled now. Be happy, contented now. Okay, so now the Vedanta philosophy teach you also the illusion of relationship. There's only one self. There is no other. So what that means? There is the self that is reflecting in other people around you. All is one. One is all. There's some deer that is eating the leaves of the branch in front of my eyes. Okay. So all is one. And one is all. There is that one self that is in all. Okay? So when you have relationships, and very often time, you have that problem of attachment in relationship, you need to remember that. You need to see the self in others. The self means yourself including. But if you forget yourself, you only see the other, then that's attachment happen. But if you remember yourself, and you remember the self in others, then you are fine. All knowledge is within. So try to be calm. Have the conviction that the self is there. Calm your mind down. Have self-confidence. Find your sattva nature by the practice of the 5 points. do asana, pranayama, relaxation, positive thinking, meditation, then you are calm. So when you're calm, then you can see yourself. Be quiet. So those who are in lockdown, it's a very good opportunity to do this. Be quiet, be silent. Do not worry. Try to convert your negative emotions. Because if you have negative emotion or any kind of emotion, the mind is wavy. When the mind is wavy, then you lose yourself. You get involved, so you lose yourself. So if you think that I am this, then I would not know that. What that means? It means that the mind is always in duality. It get involved in this and they get separated from that. So all the time like this. But if I think that I am you, then I know you. So it's better that you don't compare yourself with other people from the external point of view. And that will bring the attraction, the repulsion, the disturbance in the mind. But if you think that I am that person, then you feel more compassionate, or you feel that you are that person. You can be that person itself. You know the person. Then you don't have conflict with people, and you're more at peace. So detach, attach, detach. So detachment is not easy because that's the nature of your life. When you're born, you are attached. So you try to detach and then you get attached again. You try to detach, you get attached again. So this is a story of a tiger walking in the forest of leaves. And the leaves just fall, so it has some juice, some sap. So then the leaves get stuck to his feet. So he sits down in order to remove the leaves from his feet. And the leaves get attached to his butt because he sat down. So he wants to remove the leaves from his butt. So he lie down and the leaves are attached to his back. So he wants to remove the leaves from his back and he roll around and the leaves get attached to his belly. So the leaves are all over. He wants to be detached and then now it's all over. So this is a nice story. I hope you remember. The story of us. Oftentimes, we want to be detached, but then we get attached more. We want to be detached, free from, let's say, free from your work. And you find 2 jobs in order for you to make more money, in order for you to be retiring from work. And then you get attached more. If you want to detach from your relationship, and then you get attached to beer and alcohol or to sleeping pill because you have difficulty, and then you want to be detached from the drugs and the alcohol, and then you get attached to the cigarettes And then if you don't want to get attached to the cigarettes, you get attached to food. You get detached from this person, you get attached to another person immediately. So constantly like this, our lives like that. Attach, detach, attach, detach. And sometimes you feel ourselves so attached, like in a prison. You cannot do anything, always, you think of the boss, you think of the family, you think of your household, you think of your life is like a prison. You feel like you're a slave to everything. And you cry and you blame. So attachment brings suffering. So at that time, you have to sit down again and meditate. Don't move. It's like the more that you move, the more you try to find solution to your problem, the more you sink. It's like in a quicksand. You can sink the more you move. Okay, so calm down, relax. Remember your Ananda nature. Remember unconditional love. Happiness is also absolute, unconditional. Remember that your mistake is that you're looking for the happiness externally. You need to remember that you are happy by nature. By withdrawing yourself and by being content, you recognize this contentment within. But by using your mind, you always experience pain and pleasure. So detach from the mind and the emotions. Okay, so your true nature is Satchidananda. The mind cannot reflect that true nature. The mind is conditioned, it looks outside, it depends on the senses, it's imperfect, it's full of desires, it's swinging between likes and dislikes, governed by the ego sense, competitive, ambitious, passionate. Okay, the mind includes the personality, the emotion, the desire. It changes constantly. So if you're attached to your personality, to your mind, to your way of seeing things, then you will not have peace because you are looking outside of yourself. What you need is to look through the mind, disregarding what the mind projects and clearing out the mind. So these 4 ways of detachment: Karma Yoga detachment, Bhakti Yoga detachment, Raja Yoga detachment, Jnana Yoga detachment. So whatever way, yeah, it's okay. Each person is different. The truth is one. The paths are many. So you are detached in selfless service. Okay? So in Karma Yoga, do the best you can, but let go of result. Detachment from result. Okay? Offer your efforts unconditionally. I move fast because time is passing quick. Detachment in emotion. In the yoga of devotion, you detach from whatever you feel and think, and you completely attach to the divine. Yeah. So you trust and have faith in the divine will, and then you detach, you relax. You practice humility, you surrender. Okay. You surrender. So right now you say, oh, yeah, you don't know what the COVID when will happen, when we finish. You have to surrender. You have to accept. Yeah. We don't know when. It's a will of God. So you relax. Attachment to the highest truth brings detachment from everything else. Okay? So you attach to find the truth. And then everything else you detach. So remember, our nature is very emotional. And we identify with different emotions. So when you learn devotion, you attach to God and you, or to the divine, or to the mother nature, and you detach from everything else. In meditation, you also detach, but also detach from thoughts and from distractions. You concentrate on the highest ideal by the name of the mantra. Yeah, you focus on the mantra and you detach from everything else. You roll your japa mala beads. Meditation is uninterrupted flow of consciousness. So when you are completely detached, then that bliss of the self is there all the time. Yeah. But in the beginning, you need to detach by concentration. You need to detach from past and future. Don't think of the past, don't think of the future. Past is gone. You cannot make a better past. Let it go. Detach from your own story of the past. Future is not there, only a projection of your mind. Do not worry, do not be attached to an imaginary future. Do not worry. Live in the present. The present is eternal. When the mind is concentrated, it's easier for it to be in the present. And the last thing is detachment from the unreal. Anything that is changing, yeah. So here the baby monkey is clinging to baby mother or to mother monkey. So attachment to the truth here and detach from everything else. It is a path of wisdom. Like I said in the beginning, you know what is transient, what is permanent, what is not permanent. So you attach to the permanent, you remember the self that is permanent, and everything else you detach. You ask yourself the question, who am I? And you say, not neti, you detach from the not self, the not real, the not permanent. Okay? You can also be detached from name and fame. So this is one Olympic champion with his gold medal. Nothing lasts forever. Name and fame are illusory. So detachment to name and fame and ego. Do what is right. Let go of criticism and praises. Bear insult, bear injury, highest yoga. You know. So you need to go inward and detach from name and fame. Detach from sensual desires. Desire comes from rajas, from the sense of lack. Desires are insatiable. You eat one ice cream, you want more, but then you have stomach ache. One desire will fan another desire. So you can switch it to the desire for liberation. Okay? And calm the mind by detachment from desire and realize the completely already fulfilled self. You don't need anything. Detachment from losses. So ultimately, loss is a loss of the body. You can be losing your relationships, but nothing in reality belongs to us. So the persons around us, we are attached to them, but they are belonging to the universe. From our point of view, you say it's mine, my relationship. But in the bigger picture, it is the universe, creatures. We are custodians. I mean, we are caretakers of our relationship. So we have the Karma Yoga attitude. And love is forever. You might lose a loved one, but love remains. Yeah, love is forever. We might lose objects and possessions, but more will be there. We are taken care of. Okay, so don't worry. It's a difficult topic, you know, detachment from losses. So these are the yoga of synthesis, the 4 paths of yoga that we just talked about. And the definition of it that I talked about already, but here you can see Karma Yoga is detached from result of action. Okay, and usually people attach to name and fame and result. Bhakti Yoga is detachment from emotions. Okay, so usually people get attached to your object of love. Raja Yoga is detachment from thoughts and meditation. Okay, I'm sorry. So usually people get attached to discipline and becoming self-centered. That also can be a problem. Jnana Yoga is is detached from the false self, false identity. Yeah. And attachment to the self, to the ego. Okay. So that's the end. Detachment is a way out of samsara. Samsara is that ocean of suffering, never ending. And that wheel of life and birth and life and death, birth and life and death. Eventually, detachment helps you to get to moksha, liberation. Attachment is the reason why you're born. It's the root cause of all karma. Detachment is the way of exit out of the cycle of suffering, the cycle of birth and death. The ultimate detachment is moksha, freedom from the cycle of reincarnation and karma. Where you start with day-to-day detachment. Okay, it's a big topic, so think about this. It's not like you can do it right away, but every day you have to practice the detachment, you know, and then you replace it with the truth about yourself. You detach, you have difficulty, but if you can remember the self, remember that everything is there for you, that you are everything, then it's easier for you to detach. Hare Om Tat Sat.